Hey Rob, good to be back.
Hey Jim, good to see you. How's everything?
Everything's going pretty good.
Good,
Uh,
good.
just just before we hit the record button, we were talking a little bit about a meeting that you had gone to or an event for international moving. I thought, why don't you share some of that information?
Yeah.
Let us know what's going on in the world.
Yeah, so I just got back from the annual international, the big event for international moving, international shipping. It's the IAM event, International Association of Movers. The event this year was in Las Vegas, Nevada, so not too far from where we are here in Southern California, our headquarters. And yeah, real nice event, well attended. Had a lot of interesting things going on this year. And so, yeah, it was a very, very beneficial.
Now, this is when you say international movers, we mean like companies, can they be of all sizes just as long as they move people internationally? Or were there huge companies there? What did that look like?
These are typically, well, first of all, that's a good question. First of all, these are all going to be members of IAM. IAM is sort of the gold standard, by the way. Anyone, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can just create a business card and a website and say, I've got XYZ International Moving. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're really in the moving business. Or a lot of times we talk about this, the brokers just trying to
Hmm.
hire people like us and add profit to it or something, or worse, they just hire somebody. But these are IAM members in good standing, and really that means something. So it's good to be around those types of folks. You asked if there are larger companies there. Some of the larger companies were there, but not really.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is most of the really big moving companies that you might come to mind, they're not really international movers. Will they do
Hmm.
some? Sure, why not? But it's not what they specialize in. It's not exactly what they do day in and day out. It's not their bread and butter.
I
So
got
that's a
you.
little bit different class of business.
Now, recently there were the issues with the ports being shut down. We talked a little bit about that. We didn't know how long the strike was going to last.
Right.
Thankfully, it didn't last long. I know they're going to revisit that, they said in January. Did
Yeah.
anybody talk about that?
There was just some offline discussions, not like, we sat down and had any sessions about that. Because, you know, yeah, the strike was what, 24 hours, it was pretty quick, in and
Yeah.
out. Yeah, they'll probably revisit it later. But the biggest issue there with the strike, really the biggest issue is automation.
Mm.
Everyone, and that's you're super seeing this not just in this particular industry, a lot of industries where, we're seeing AI and other types of automation coming in and saying the bigger companies can say, well, we can have automated things handle the workload. We don't need all this human resources. So
Yeah.
that's going to continue to come up until that is somewhat solved, I think.
Yeah. Do you see a way to solve it? I mean, automation's taking over everything, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that where there is, you know, organized labor, where there's collective type bargaining, I think they're going to continue to push, 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 to make sure that that stuff doesn't come into play. And I don't know what the answer is going to be,
Yeah.
but at some point, people need jobs,
Yeah. I think
and
what happens is
can't
it's
outsource everything to a machine.
yeah, I think one of the things about automation, I saw a Chinese port. They had people there, even though it was fully automated. But what the people were doing was they were remotely controlling trucks, cranes, flatbeds, all of that. So on the port itself, you didn't really see more than maybe one person on the whole port. But inside the office, located at the port, were a bunch of 30 somethings sitting behind monitors. Now, if you took the number of people sitting behind the monitor and you compared them to the way it was done in the past, out there actually, directing traffic and stuff on in the port, you would say that probably they took one third of the people to operate. Maybe that's generous. Maybe it's less than that. Maybe it's less than a quarter. I don't know. So, if somebody's thinking about moving, let's say to the UK, in the new year, whether they're going as an expat, whether they're thinking about making the move as a professional, or even a student that wants to go and study overseas. How does this affect a person's planning? I mean, what should they be doing or thinking or looking out for?
I don't think that it really affects anything in terms of our clients that are looking to move overseas, whether it be the UK or Australia or South Africa, Japan. I don't think it really has much, doesn't come into play. Um, it things are still happening, things are still moving. I don't think that there's any timing that, if you wait till this period of time, prices could come down. Better hurry because it might go up. Things are pretty much moving along. I'm not seeing any problems right now in the industry. Although we're paying attention to everything, and there are obviously things happening. In terms of the client and what they should be paying attention to, I think it's just work with the do what they need to do when they need to do it the best way that it can be done. We think that's using SDC
Yeah,
and pull the trigger when the time is right.
yeah. Well, I'm sure people will be glad.
I think that's
That's
it.
about the best news you could get, right? Just keep going, like, and nothing has changed. There's
That's
a
it.
threat
Right.
here and a threat there, but yeah, everything is still moving.
No,
Now, prices,
that's
do you
right.
think they'll
And
stay
it's going
around
to
the
continue
same?
that. I think prices are going to continue doing what they're doing. This is the new normal. Everyone's seems like trying to raise prices um, a little bit as they can. Things have really calmed down, obviously,
Hmm.
compared to what we saw 2 years ago. Um, but yeah, I think prices are going to continue to be steady, be steady, slightly grow, 1, 2% a year kind of
Mm.
thing for a while.
Good, good. Rob, great
Are we
information.
getting a pretty big lag here, Jim?
There is a little bit of a lag, yeah.
Great. Glad to provide it.
All right. We'll put the number up on the screen. If you're getting ready to make a move, you want to talk to Rob, he's available. You can speak to him directly. And any questions that you have, you can also go to the website. There's chat there as always. All right. Rob, I'll see you in the next one.
Sounds good, Jim. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. You too.